Too. Let's get it going. All right, yeah, how's that sound, by the way? Solid? Okay.
Cooking.
Yeah, we're cooking. Okay, gang, we're here. Fighters drinking coffee. We have Shane, the night train marshal.
Ooh. How we doing, everybody?
We're doing very good. Thanks for coming, man.
Thank you for having me. It's fun.
Yeah, so Shaner is the buddy from District Martial Arts. He's been training with us for almost 4 years now.
Yeah, 4 years.
4 years in February. February.
Yeah.
I like that. Been fighting mixed martial arts, doing a bunch of jiu-jitsu tournaments, national champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the IBJJF.
Out in Vegas.
Having
a good time.
Having a good time. Yeah, dude. Give him a little background. Obviously, I know you. Mike knows you. Mike knows you a little less than I do, but he's getting to know you.
Yeah.
He's getting to know you.
Well, getting to know me
We're all
better
becoming
now.
friends.
Yeah.
Well, he's getting to know you.
I'll know me even better after today.
Yeah, dude. Well, you do a few 8 a.m. Saturday morning training sessions. One, it says something about a guy who's willing to show up at 8 a.m. on a Saturday. Both of you guys.
Early birds.
Put that shit wherever you want, man. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, but anyways, dude, quick background. Give us the Shane.
Yeah, so pretty much my whole story of my life. Grew up in a small town, Dubois, Pennsylvania. Ended up going to the Marine Corps after high school. Did 4 years. Was down in North Carolina, Camp Lejeune. Thank you. And then didn't do anything too crazy. Went over to Norway for a bit.
What?
Yeah, Norway was a good time.
What, dude?
Yeah.
What? Hold on.
Definitely have to talk about
What were you doing in Norway?
So we did a cold weather response training for the Marine Corps, and I was motor T. So
What's a motor T, dude?
so for my veterans out there, 35, 31, it's pretty much just a logistics job. I drive trucks, I maintenance trucks. Then you have mechanics who just fixes stuff. So I had the honor of just driving and breaking things. Cool. And literally in Norway, we'd go there, just drive through. We'd run over trees with Humvees and 7 tons.
Awesome.
You do the ice track, so you pretty much drive around and it's funny because they have they track your speed, so everyone's just trying to hit a high score, see how fast you can take turns. Everyone's just crashing, wrecking.
Dude, no way. How long were you in Norway?
I don't even remember. It was only a few months. It wasn't a very long training, but it was very fun. I didn't prepare very well because my roommate at the time, Luke, he's my best friend down there. He's actually getting married in 2025, so
okay.
shout out to Luke.
Shout out to Luke.
But we went out every night, and I only brought one pair of clothes.
How old were you at the time?
I was 21.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, drinking age was 18. It was a ton of fun. We'd just go to the bars and drink all the Dales. It's like a Bud Light, but Norway, it's called Dales. And
were they all popping? Were they popping 20 milligram Zins?
They didn't have the Zins. It was mud.
They have some fucked up version that they all use, but they love that shit.
It was dirt, and I tried it, and it made me so sick.
Woo!
I was like, this is not what I like. I was like, this is absolutely terrible. But yeah, we had a really good time. We had a good group of guys. We thought we were getting investigated by the Russians at one point.
I bet you were.
Yeah, because we
were pretty close to there. They probably were. They're probably checking it out.
Well, the whole purpose of that from a show, hey, we own the northern shoulder. Don't
we own the north.
Yeah, we are the kings of the north.
I like that.
It's we're just holding it down. But it was a good time, and then more Marines started coming, and if anyone knows Marines, they get pretty rowdy.
I can imagine.
We'd get pretty drunk, and I remember this one night, it was pretty squirrely, but we were walking back, and these guys, different unit, different people, we didn't know them, but they started getting in a fight. They're shoving. Americans fighting each other. Typical. Need to fight somebody, no one there.
Yeah,
There's only sweet old people there, so there's no one to fight there. And they shove them in the store into this glass and makes a loud noise. There's this grandma walking down the sidewalk on this block. She turns right, just see these young heathens just getting after it. And her face, the fear in her face, and she's like, "Oh my god!" And then just turned around and walked away. I was like, "Oh man, guys, we got to do better." But that's probably why.
The old people.
Yeah, it was a good time though. We had a lot of fun.
Okay, so you were in Norway for a little while. That's a plot twist. I didn't know that. I like that. All right, so then you come back. Are you back in Dubois or where were you?
So Camp Lejeune, stay there. I was actually going to re-enlist.
Lejeune is California, right?
No, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to go to California.
Is that Pendleton?
So there's a few bases out there. Of shit. Yeah, because I went out another training operation, ITX. It's out 29 Palms, like just south of that. It's like Camp Wilson. It's just like the desert, nothing that crazy. But I was really good friends with the docs, and we do some pretty bad stuff. They were like one of the only people with vans, so we could only like they had vehicle access, so we drive off base and go out, just get like food and stuff. But
yeah,
they would give you like, I acted like I had some sleeping problems and everything like that, so I got some Ambien and would just take that, and I was on that for like the whole trip, and I was just getting messed up. I was like, oh man,
they get you all the extracurriculars, and they can help treat hangovers, I'm sure too.
Oh yeah, they had all the goods. Plus, like, that was the first field op, because I was pretty young. I think I just became a corporal at the time, so I was a young NCO, and this first field op where like I saw them like bringing alcohol out and everything like that, I was like, oh, you guys like party. Like, I'm still young, I'm waking up early, like trying to do my job, and these guys are just getting after it at night. I was like, oh, you guys are a good time. So we'd hang out. We spent like a month or so out there, and then when I put in my re-enlistment package, I put it in very late, and I was a pretty good Marine. I had high scores, was good at expert on the range, did all the running stuff, and so I was like, oh, I think I'll be able to get whatever I want. So when I put my wish list together, because it was still like downsizing at the time, where you used to be able to pick like what unit you wanted to go to, but now you just pick like a base you want to go to. So I wanted to go Miramar. Miramar's in San Diego.
Ooh. And
I was playing rugby at the time, and rugby is real big out there. I was like, well, if I go out to San Diego, I'm like, life will be sweet. Like, they have a lot of like bars, like a lot of cool like breweries and everything. Mm-hmm. I was like, my living, plus like it's the cost of living out there is so expensive. I'm like, it's the only way I'd be able to like move out there, have free housing, like have a good job. Like, I was a sergeant, like I got promoted sergeant, so I was like, oh, nice. So E5, cooking, and then when
You're set up.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I'm like all eyes on here, and then they gave me DC. And I was like,
oh, boo!
I was like, dude,
fucker.
I do not want to go to DC. The only experience I had at DC at the time was my like 5th grade field trip, and then a few times when I was driving through to get back to PA, I would have to drive through DC, and the traffic was horrible. The people were
horrible,
mean.
Yeah,
I was like, no one had any patience. I was like, I cannot go here. And it was like 8th and I, non-deployable unit. I didn't have any real deployments in the Marine Corps, and I was already a sergeant. I'm like, if I stay here, I'll probably become a staff sergeant. And then I'm like, I cannot be a staff NCO in the United States Marine Corps and have 0 deployments. So I was like, that's like, I'll get hounded for being a pogue, but I'm like, dude, I'm not doing that. So I was like, all right, let me get out of the Marine Corps. So I decided to get out of the Marine Corps. I was looking at options of what I wanted to do because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I always wanted to be a state trooper in Pennsylvania. That was kind of like my end goal, which I still might entertain that. Yeah, because I always loved law enforcement. I did a bunch of camp cadets growing up. If anyone knows what camp cadet is, awesome time. Okay. Anyone in PA, definitely recommend it. But yeah, so I was like, let me go to school. And all my friends back home, they went into safety. And I was like, what's safety? I'm like, you obviously like hear safety, but I didn't know that was like a job, path? Like a career, like, yeah. And everyone's like, dude, just get into safety. If you don't like it, because one of my mentors is also a state trooper. He's like, listen, go to college. I'm getting paid, like, they pay your cost of living, so I got like $2,000 a month to like go to school, plus the GI Bill paid for my college. So I'm going to college for free just to do anything. At the time, I had ambitions to play some college ball, but again, still playing rugby at the time. I was like, let me see what I can do here. And then ended up getting out and going college. Ended up not playing football. Decided not to go that route. Had a girlfriend at the time. I was like, oh, I'll just spend more time out there. And then when I was kind of just going through the motions, kind of living life, doing that, ended up graduating school, safety. I didn't really think about it. Like, I want to go construction safety, but that's all like big cities. So all the jobs in the big cities were like, obviously Atlanta. Like, I could work for like Turner, a few other job offers, but I was like, oh crap, I don't know if I want to go cross country like now. So I ended up picking DC because I got like 2 job offers down here. I was like, it's kind of fate. Like, just.
I ended up in DC just picking a job too, dude.
Yeah, it's like, I'm like, it's not bad. My cousin lived here for a couple of years. She helped me out. That's what kind of started my journey down here. It's been nothing but good times.
The old district.
So you're doing construction safety here? Is that?
Yeah, so I work for a GC down here, just working on big projects. I work on a couple, but renovations, all that fun stuff. So, but safety you could go in oil and gas, construction, manufacturing, insurance. Like, there's just so many paths where it opens so many doors. That's where I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know there's so many opportunities. Because there's so many jobs out there that you're like, I didn't know this was a job.
These jobs are unsafe.
Yeah.
There's so much I didn't realize how unsafe I was.
Yeah, and there's a lot that goes into it too. It's like all the insurance costs, like EMRs, premiums, like you really help out the companies and do all the worker comp stuff, all the boring stuff. But it's like, it's just necessary. So.
The boring stuff is always what gets paid the most, though.
Yeah, it's very
for real.
tedious. Yeah.
For real.
I had a buddy who did that for oil and gas, but now he's doing it for U.S. Water. So doing like it's all like site inspection safety stuff. The stories are wild.
No, you see some pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah, I imagine you run into some pretty screwed up situations. Like, you're like, what do you mean you don't have PPE at all?
Have you had to do anything like that?
Oh my gosh, I've had to send a lot of people home, unfortunately.
Fuck out of here.
But it's terrible too, because it's like I don't even speak the same language as some of the guys, and they don't know. Like, it's a management problem, training problem. It's a whole deep dive into it, but it's just a guy standing on the edge of like a building, pretty much like working, and then it's like, hey buddy, if you fall,
you're gonna die.
You're going to die. Or like standing on a pipe and standing on something. It's like, dude, no, like, don't do that. No bueno.
No bueno, bro.
And it's funny because my girlfriend now, I actually called her during work one time because the guy spoke 0 English. And my limited Spanish, I was trying to talk to this guy. And I was like, I'm not getting through to this guy. So I called her, and then she just starts going off. Blah, 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 blah. I was just speaking Spanish. I was like, and then he's like, oh, yeah. And I was like, nice.
There you go.
Like another victory.
I like that.
Yeah, getting after it.
So, buddy, all right, so when you came into the gym, I assumed you had wrestled. I thought you wrestled in college.
I did club wrestling in college.
Beefcake.
So I did club wrestling.
Which school?
Slippery Rock University. Home of a rock solid education.
I like that.
But I went so during my club wrestling career, it was very short, but we went to one duel at Akron, Ohio, and at this time I was kind of out of shape. I was just doing it kind of for fun, and I remember going, and I don't know if they had like a legit team or if this was like the club team. I don't really know. I just kind of went on a whim, and we went out there. I ended up pinning the kid, and I'm like, thankfully, because I remember taking like a shot double leg. We went out bounce, and I stood up, and I was like, oh jeez, because this 3-2-2 like college like rules. And I was like, oh gosh. And the coach like made a joke, and I was like, yeah, dude, I'm tired. And then I think I hit like a cement mixer, just something squirrely.
Wrestling has the craziest terms. I have no idea what a cement mixer is.
Cement mixer,
gator roll,
cow
catcher, gator roll type stuff. But cement jump at your roll. And yeah, so I'm 1-0 in my collegiate career.
Hell yeah, dude.
So
undefeated, baby.
Undefeated. So I left college undefeated.
I like
and
that.
And
then you're like, I'm on top now. It's all downhill from here.
I was like, it's a good time to retire.
So when Shane wrestles, dude, he has this like hybrid like football stance mixed with wrestling. Like gets down like on. It's like the craziest shit I've ever seen. It's terrifying. Shane goes low. He gets low like he's gonna tackle you, which is what you're going to do. And I'm like, oh fuck. Shane drops into the stance, and I'm like, all right, man, run away, dude. I don't want to get hit by this guy.
I just think of Oklahoma drills. Plus, like, it was terrible in high school for me. It was great, but I was the worst high school wrestler my freshman year. I love telling like tales of my freshman year. I was 1-13. I was god awful. I love football. I was like, let me play football, and then I was like, let me do wrestling because my PA is like a Spartan society with wrestling. It's like you have to wrestle. Plus, all my friends were like wrestlers, and they were like really good. And then I was like wrestling. Someone got hurt. One of the juniors or seniors got hurt, broke their wrist. So I had to start as a freshman. And I was like, oh boy. So then I was just getting
How big were you as a freshman?
145.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you wrestled at 145.
Wrestled.
So you were probably more like, what, 170?
No, I was pretty small. Because my sophomore year when I was playing football, I weighed 165. And I was starting then.
What position did you play?
I played middle linebacker, outside linebacker. And a little side note, when I was playing football, one of my favorite things, when I was like so small, we played this team, Oil City, and there was a guy that played in the league, Ben Koyak. I remember this other kid caught a ball, and I was like sprinting out the sideline. And this kid's a senior. He's like 6'4", 6'5", like 250. Like he was going to play for Notre Dame. Like he's like a legit like specimen. Like he's like a real football player. And I remember I was like running to the sideline to tackle this kid that ran an out route. He like ran a corner, so he's above. So as soon as I turn, he jacks me up. I do like a legit backflip. But then I get up, I land, and then I get up. I'm like, Korak, you hit like a pussy. I was like,
I know you just leveled me, but
yeah, it's like I was trying to gain a little bit ounce of self-respect that I had to be like, what do you say after you just get embarrassed?
That didn't even hurt, motherfucker.
You get embarrassed in front of your home friends, family, and it's like, well, it didn't even hurt me, dude.
I'm fine.
Yeah, it's like my neck, the next. I'm like, oh man, probably got a little CT.
That or like you get leveled. I played in high school also, and like I played a lot of special teams. You get like laid out, but then you have to like jump back up and like try to lay out the same dude so you don't look like a bitch.
Yeah, you don't want. High school football is very fun. It's very squirrely. A lot of hard hits, but you just pretty much try to throw your body, and that's kind of how I tried to wrestle. It was like, I'm just gonna try to tackle these kids. But back to my 1-13 season, I was like cutting weight, losing so bad. I finally get my win, and I felt like the monkey was off my back. I'm like, oh, I might be able to put together some wins here. Because I still had a little bit of confidence because everyone in the room was really good. So I'm like, I have to get good. Like, there's just no way that I can't be this bad. Like, I feel like, because I've been a relatively decent athlete like most of my life, I'm like, I have to get good at this. Like,
I gotta figure this shit out.
Yeah, there has to be something. I'm like, whatever I'm doing wrong, it's just, I gotta figure it out. So I ended up going for our team states, like, we're facing our rival school. And it's Clearfield, Dubois, very long history, all this stuff. And the winner got to go Hershey as a team to compete for like the team state title. It's a really fun experience for like all the seniors and everything. Again, I'm a freshman, so all the seniors, I don't think they ever got to go. And now our team's like starting to get good because it's like every few years Dubois is like really good, then kind of drops and gets really good. So we're kind of on that like trajectory going up. And I was second to last match, and I don't remember the score, but it was like, if you don't get pinned, the coach told me, he's like, if you don't get pinned,
we win.
We're gonna win. And I was like, I can do this. I run out on the mat. 37 seconds later, I am pancaked. My delusional self, I was like, all right, just don't get pinned. What's the best way to not get pinned? Don't shoot, like just defensive wrestle. I go out there against a senior. This guy, again, a grown man. And I was like moving. I was like, oh, I think I can win. And then I just took a shot. I took a double leg. Dude caught me, spiked me on the ground. I got pinned so fast. Everyone's like, dude.
You know the other guy too. They were like, if you pin this guy, you win. And you're like,
all you do is pin him, and we go to Hershey.
Yeah, that's literally what was going to happen.
Well, you know, the second you started shooting, the coach was like, no.
I think everyone in the arena or the little gymnasium was like, no, like, what are you doing? Especially, like, it was at our home gym, so, like, we got a pretty good turnout, too, for, like, wrestling.
Did you get up and you're like, you didn't even pin me that good, dude?
No. I wasn't even
that good. You pinned me, but it wasn't that good.
I was actually very depressed. I was like, this sucks. I was like, everyone's, like, definitely like, shame. And I'm like, oh, man. But, yeah. But eventually I got good. I started working out with some of the guys, like, off hours, and Gino was one of the guys that really helped me kind of extend my wrestling career and get better. He ended up wrestling for like Pitt and Penn State and everything like that. Taking a journey, he's probably going to be in the UFC, but he...
he's your buddy you've talked about.
Yeah.
He was fighting out in PA, right?
Yeah, I want to go see his fight last time. Awesome dude. He's a great guy, but we used to... He'd help me so much. We'd just go train. I remember, like, I ate a whole pizza the one time, and he called me up on, like, a Sunday. He's like, hey, come train with Tom and I. I was like, all right.
I just housed a pizza.
Yeah, and I was like, I gotta do it.
Stomach is fucking.
I gotta do it.
You do.
And then he just would always just beat the crap out of me. I was like trying to put up somewhat of a fight, but he would just dominate me. And it was funny because like once I'd get so tired and just be like laying there, he'd give me like a dead leg or something like that. He's like,
get up, pussy.
Yeah. He's kind of like the whole thing.
Don't you put on me.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, I gotta go. But eventually, I turned out to be decent. I think my senior year, my junior year was as close as I probably came to states, but my senior year, one kid knocked me out because I lost to the same guy. Like I was going through a tournament, I lost to this kid in districts, and then you go regionals in PA, and then I was like losing kid that I lost in districts, and then I did the cement mixer again, ended up pinning him, then I was in the third and fourth place.
I still don't know what a cement mixer is, but later.
We'll have to go.
We'll do it later.
I
don't know if I like it. I don't want it. Do it to Mike.
It's a squirrely.
Don't do it to me.
It's pretty much like an anaconda.
Okay.
It's not. It's not. Don't worry. It's not.
It sounds cool.
It's a front headlock and you just roll.
All right, I like that.
It's pretty effective. But regardless, so this kid dropped down from like 95 to 82, and I was like, all right. He beat me in the first, second round or whatever. So I had wrestled my way back. Third, fourth place match, top three go states. I was like, all right, I got to beat this kid. And then I go out there, ended up losing by 2 or 3 points. I can't remember. Probably a pretty boring match. So my wrestling career is done. And then I'm like, all right, we'll go to the next one. So that's when I started thinking, am I going to go to college? Do I want to play college ball? Because at this point I was up to 205, talking, trying to go D2 type school, and I was like, all right, let's see if I can get anything cooking here. Ended up not really going that route. Decided to go to the Marine Corps, and been pretty good decisions.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, man. When in the realm of fighting, do you consider yourself a wrestler first?
I do not.
I had a feeling you would say that, which is crazy because on the outside looking in, I'm like, this motherfucker's a wrestler.
Yeah.
Well, especially after after talking about having that whole being from Pennsylvania, having that wrestling, even an average wrestler from PA is a pretty damn good wrestler.
He's a wrestler,
yeah.
But I liked his answer. But I liked your answer because one thing I'll say about Shane too, since he's been at District Martial Arts, dude trains super hard. Very proud of you, man.
Appreciate it.
And you do everything, and you're very your humble attitude, which you have, is a good thing. Which I say humble. This is it's a perfect balance because as soon as we go into whether it's a tournament or a fight, he's so fired up to be there. So it's which probably comes from one being in the Marines. You're in the military, so you're this is a fucking game. No one's shooting at me, whatever. And then all the collegiate sports, all the athletics that you've been in, probably puts you in a good headspace. You're comfortable in competition. So it's you get fired up. Khaldoon's good about that too. About being psyched to be in whatever environment.
Ready.
Yeah, just ready to go, right? But in the training room, it's you're so humble and you want to do everything. So that's why when you said that, I'm I could see. Do you consider yourself then more of a mixed martial artist? What's your continued answer to what I asked a minute ago?
I'd say I try to be the full definition of a mixed martial artist. When I first started, even found out what mixed martial arts is. It's I would watch so much Conor McGregor. Even when I first started going, when I was back home in college, I went to a small gym, BC Boxing, back home, and this guy from Jersey, Chris, he taught me how to box, and I love boxing. and just working from there. I love the attitude, and then watching Connor, I was like always trying to do the little karate stands, bouncing back and forth, trying to find like the knockout blows, and like just watching it. It's like what brings excitement. Like I want to win, but I also like talking about having so much experience. It's also fun for me, so I want to go out there, try to have fun. A lot of my fights I end up utilizing my wrestling, but I have one knockout. It's like I do want to like get out there and fully explore the sport, like use my hands, kind of work from there, because I have a lot of confidence in my hands. So it's like if that doesn't work, my theory is like if I can wrestle better than that person, like I can try to strike first, and if that doesn't work out for me, then I'm going there. And then if they are a better wrestler than me, because there's going to be better wrestlers, it's like by that point in my career, I better have better hands. Like I better be able to have good enough wrestling to defend shots and then keep it on the feet and work it from there. And obviously keep growing and then keep trying to get better striking. If the hands aren't working out, then I got to go back to the ground.
Bottom fish hooks.
Yeah, do whatever I got.
Yeah, do whatever it takes. All right, yeah, I like that. And yes, you have you've taken to boxing quite well too. I know you bust your ass there. Fuck, I would not want to get hit by. I would not want to get hit by you.
Try
I know you're outside of winning. What's your like favorite part of like the fight? Like, is it like, do you prefer? I mean, obviously, like being out there, but like, is it what part of fighting is like your most like your favorite part of
Stage,
it? Like,
is it like the training?
No, it's just the camaraderie of the team. Like that's why I love DMA. Like it's just the community, because it's not. I've said it before. It's not me going on the just cage alone. Like I fight it like obviously alone, but it's like I'm molded by every experience I've had in my life, from my childhood, from school to the Marine Corps to now, from all my training partners, past, present. Like every single person I had any type of interaction with has put a little mold on me, stamped me to make me that type of person. I just want to go out, represent, have a good time, because there's nothing better. Like for me, obviously it's fun winning, doing all that, but seeing everyone's reaction, it brings everyone together. It's like, why did the Romans like have Colosseum fight? It's like brings people in. Like you want to have that entertainment. And that's kind of the mindset I try to go in. Like I love the Vikings and shit like that, but it's like going in there like it's battle, but it's just one piece, one team, one fight. Like always getting after it. And that's what gets me so hyped up. Is like even just watching people. It's scarier watching people go, because it's like I can't control what's going on. But if you're in there, it's like if I win, I've won a lot, I lost a lot in life. It's like it's not a big deal. Like I lost my title fight, and that was probably my favorite fight. Like it was just a dog fight. I was bleeding. I put a hole in his head. He put a hole in my eye. Like it was just one of those things where we're getting after it. But after that, like the crowd doesn't even care who won. Like obviously winning, you have to win to have the perks. But at the end of the day, like everyone there loved it. I loved it. I'm sure the other kids loved it. The fans loved it. Like all teammates were great. Like no one, just because you lose, not everyone's like, Shane, like you suck, dude. Like that type of stuff. It's just like a good time. It's just fun, and that's what brings me in the sport. It's like if I was doing it by myself, I don't think I would really want to do it. Like I don't want to go out there. Just it's pretty cool being able to go out there. Like it's kind of mind fuck just being like, I'm gonna go legally assault you right now, like consensual, and everyone's just gonna watch, and let's see what happens.
People are gonna pay to see us.
Yeah, like
what would normally be a crime.
Yeah, like literally, like even the little scraps I had, I'm like, oh, that was crazy with my friends. But then coming in here, I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like
very cool.
Like I was laughing during my second fight. It was the kid that I ended up knocking out. I remember starting the fight. And I was kind of laughing to myself, like internally. I was like, touch hands. I was like, I can't believe I'm fighting. Like it's just it's such a weird experience. Like those first two fights, it just didn't feel like I was like supposed to be fighting this person. I was like, this is very strange. Like, it's just a weird experience.
You're doing it. You did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird, and then you're like, I got a job to do.
Yeah, because my first fight, jeez, that was scary because I felt really calm. Like, the entire time, I don't even listen to music. Like, I just enjoy peace, quiet. Like, I don't get too amped up or anything like that. But went out there, I was like, threw a 1, 2, 3, landed. I was like, oh, I'm cooking.
Yeah, we're going, baby.
Kid came back, just threw a haymaker of a right, connected on my chin, sat me down, and then I was like, double it. I was like, I'm like, all right. And then ended up working from there, but, and then got the success going, but I was like, geez, I'm like, people can really hurt you here.
Like, oh shit, this is real.
Yeah, it's like, you're like, oh, he can't hit me. And it's like, oh, I got to defend myself. I can't just punch him.
I remember that in my first fight too. Yeah, the first time, like, it was when I connected with the other guy's face. Like, I threw like a nice stiff, and like the look on his face, I'm like, oh shit, this is real now. Like, we're like really doing this.
No, that's the funny thing, man. It's like when I punch people, it's like, and it has such a different feeling on your hands. It's like, oh. Like, you just know, like, oh, man, that one hurt. But when I knocked that kid out, like, I thought I hit him with my right hand. I completely whiffed with my right. But, like, hitting so many pads with tone, I, like, literally threw my 2 and then came right back with my 3. And I was like, oh, I didn't even realize I did that. And then that's what I ended up catching him. I'm like, oh, all right. Pads are important. Muscle memory is important. Just keep it going. It's a bunch of fun stuff.
Dang. Yeah, man.
Dang,
boy. Yeah, dude. Like I said, I'll say it again. I don't want to get hit by you, man. I don't want that at all. Don't hit me. Actually, you can hit me sometimes.
You came boxing a few times.
I know that,
bro.
That's bad enough.
Yeah,
so
I
imagine.
I got some big legs. I got some big legs.
Yeah, dude. Some hammered. I mean, that's my standing policy with Shane is leg lock him.
I mean, that's the way to get me.
For now, dude.
I gotta figure that out.
But you've been doing a lot. I mean, you've been doing them more, man. You've been jumping like head into that.
I've been trying to do a lot of leg locks. I like it. It's like,
it's fun.
I didn't think I would like it, but it's actually like pretty creative. You can get pretty crafty with it.
So all right. So you've been your hands are working for you, man. You even though you don't call yourself a wrestler, that's your background. You're good at it. It's something you can leverage when you need it. What about jiu-jitsu, man? What do you think of all that?
Jiu-jitsu is weird.
That's definitely okay.
That's
definitely
it is.
No,
yes.
It's just when I first started doing jiu-jitsu, I was like, what is going on? Because I did a little bit of submissions. Like, I only knew of a couple, and then you start watching all these high-level guys go, and you're like, what is happening? It's like kind of slow, like methodical, a lot of strategy, and I'm just so used to wrestling. Like, I'm gonna put my head in your chest and see what happens. Like,
I'm gonna blast you.
Yeah. But now it's like, slow it down, calm down, or else you're gonna get caught in something funky, weird. And I was like, all right, because my first even tournament I went to, I was like, I'm going to wrestle. Like, there's not gonna be a lot of submissions. Get a lot of points and kind of go from there. That's kind of been my MO for.
If I recall, though, your first couple of jiu-jitsu tournaments, I'm pretty sure this is your first one. I think you arm triangled everyone.
I did arm triangle.
Yeah,
that's the one submission that.
No, you're giving yourself a little more credit, man. Like, you were like, all right, you did wrestle them, and then you passed their guard and then you arm triangled them.
Yeah,
which is jiu-jitsu.
That is jiu-jitsu. It's I just like being on top.
Shane Jitsu.
Yeah, I just like being on top. I'm trying to get better at all the guard stuff.
Being on top's better anyways.
Yeah, in every aspect of life.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree.
But no, it's just all the facets of it. It's just a skill set. The weird thing is about jiu-jitsu is just how calm it is. I feel like if I had a kid, I'd 100%. I don't know how you feel about this. I'd have them wrestle. Oh, yeah. Way before they do jiu-jitsu. I'd want them to get that like grit, like that kind of go mode before like the respected like balance type thing.
I think you have to have both, right? Like, if you're gonna mold this little person into a Spartan warrior. But you're right, dude. Like, for me, when I started wrestling like after I began jiu-jitsu, I started wrestling because I recognized like how dangerous these dudes were in like jiu-jitsu like settings, obviously. And for me, it was always positioned as something to help my jiu-jitsu. And then, you know, Mark came around, and I got access to like really high level wrestlers, which was awesome, and it's still awesome. And now we have like a room full of wrestling freaks.
I remember around the time he came when we were still at Nova, like we had an amazing room of wrestlers.
Yeah,
we had a lot of super high level guys at that time. Especially we'd have guys that would just come around too, but
yeah, you know, 100%, man. But what I noticed. Well, there's a lot of things I've noticed about wrestling, but for something I kind of joke about wrestling is that like you'll go to like a wrestling class and you'll like see a move, someone will, you know, Mark or whoever, someone will demonstrate like a, you know, a single leg or something, and so like what I like about wrestling, I think is different than jiu-jitsu. It's kind of what you're talking about, Shane, where like they'll show a move and then you'll go and drill it, and then what I like about wrestling that is definitely different, and it's like there's like a fundamental. Maybe it's like a philosophy or like the way you play it or whatever that's different than jiu-jitsu, where it's like, all right, so this is the move. Now when you need to do it, go do it really fast and really strong. Sort of like, it's like, you'll see the technique, but they're like, yes, this is the technique. It is technical. But now go be really fast and really strong. Do this really fast and really strong, because the other dude, at a certain point, and this is something that like wrestling, and I'm sure this is consistent in MMA too, where it's like everyone ends up being really good. But it's like who can do the really good move faster and stronger. Yeah, and there's a skill to that. That's not like, I think it's actually a really good thing to where you're like, hey, like all things being equal, sometimes like the bigger, faster, stronger guy is gonna beat you, because like I said, if it's all equal, if it's like bigger, faster, stronger, single leg versus slower, weaker, bigger, smaller, same technique. Like you either better be way more technical, or one of those facets is gonna fuck you up. And like wrestling makes you have to have like it brings back the grit, like you said. There's like an aggression that in any combat sport, and jiu-jitsu this is included too. Like you have to be big, fast, and strong in that too. But you gotta be able to do that and perform it like when you need to do it, and that's the grit and like the style of training that wrestling brings to the table too. That I find so valuable is the like relentlessly repetitive hard work of doing that, to where like, yes, we're going to embed the technical part into you via just like a mind-numbing amount of repetition, so that you can be bigger, faster, stronger when you need it. And that's when, you know, you got to lift, you got to do all this other shit, like you have to like put it all together. I think it's maybe because it's a more mature sport, at least in the United States, like it's been around way longer. So like the training styles, the teams, like these guys kind of have it down. There's like a process in wrestling where they're like, yo, it's like sort of, if you can survive the training, because it's like they have a system for it. It's like you just have to be able to survive it. They just make it so difficult that like jiu-jitsu is...
Wrestling's so hard.
It's so goddamn hard.
It's crazy.
Well, I mean, I also think the very nature of it is more difficult too, because it's kind of like who can sprint and be strong as fuck to put the other guy on his back. Whereas like in jiu-jitsu, it's sort of like you can be on your back. It's okay.
Yeah,
so you can kind of slow it down.
There's so many fewer ways. Like the pathway for victory is like so much more specific for wrestling, which kind of like what you were talking about. Like there isn't like that sub from the bottom. Like you don't have to worry about that. But like the pathway is so specific that people kind of know like, this person has to take me down if they want to score. I have to take them down if I want to score. So you just have to be faster, stronger, and you have to get there first. And so like a lot of that, like you can even tell if you're just wrestling in the jiu-jitsu room and you're trying to like do takedowns. If someone just doesn't want to do takedowns, they just want to sit there and just walk away, it's really hard if you aren't faster and stronger than them.
It's one thing
to
that
get a
drives me
takedown.
crazy.
Well, if they sit there and just push away, back away, keep their hips far away, like they can just not. We can just sit there and patty cake for 5 minutes because they don't let you do it. You're shooting from 5 feet.
A wrestling room compared to like a jiu-jitsu class, like I was like I catch some hate for this, but I tell people like my high school wrestling room, like that training was harder than recruit training in the Marine Corps. Like the thing that really separates like the sports, I feel like, is just mental toughness. Is like you get in there and people take it so personally of like getting a takedown. If you take someone down, they're willing to like square up with you. Like you refuse. You become like a cat. You're just such an athlete because it's like jiu-jitsu is like, oh, I can sit down, I can be on my back, but it's like you take a wrestler, it's like try to put him on his back. It's like, oh, I can't. It's a cat that always lands on his feet.
He won't go down.
Yeah, it's just like such better athletes. Like training with like Cameron, David, like they're just freaks. And Charles became like a D1 guy. Like it's just the refusal and the just drive and the like even when you're dog tired, just being able to push through and break like into a new limit, it just creates a room of dogs. Like just
there's value to that,
fierce.
like you said, man.
Very fierce.
The mental toughness that wrestling requires is that's I mean, like I think we could probably talk about that all day.
Oh
and we can keep talking about it. Yes, that value is it's different with jiu-jitsu, right? Like because like Mike was saying a second ago, like a jiu-jitsu guy can just be like, all right, cool, I'll sit down.
Yeah.
There's a complexity to that I do think is interesting about jiu-jitsu. Maybe it's a little more technical where you're like, fuck, man, well, like, this guy doesn't give a shit. Like, which is why sometimes you see, like, wrestlers go into jiu-jitsu and they get frustrated because they're like, why the fuck is this guy doing this? Why
aren't you playing my game?
Or shouldn't he be upset about this? And then that kind of fucks with them a little bit, only because early on they don't understand that. But once they begin to understand it, then they're like, oh, everything about wrestling that made it unique still is that grit. I mean, as soon as those dudes figure that part out, it's really just like a strategy and like technical thing.
Yeah.
Once they're like, oh, this is how that game is played, well, I can do that shit too. And then they're like, all right, well, they apply that same rigor to passing someone's guard or like finding a submission. As soon as those dudes figure that out, then it's like, fuck, you got a problem.
I really liked watching Jason Nolf go against, you probably know the guy. I don't know
Rutolo.
the guy. But yeah, that was a crazy match.
Oh, and that's why, so this is the thing where it's like Rutolo's not going to out-wrestle Kate, or Jason Nolf. Yeah. But he can wrestle, and he has that same type of grit. It's just applied across the spectrum of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Right. So, which is why that match was awesome. It was one of the coolest matches to watch.
The Rutolos bring that like they have that level of intensity that a lot of wrestlers bring to it. Where they got that from, I guess, is just from.
I think they're like I've been saying this, dude, for the last couple of years, and then this year with like CJI and ADCC being in the same day, you got to see all these matchups. And CJI brought Craig Jones Invitational brought because it brought a mixed room of like they invited wrestlers, they invited all these dudes. Like you got to watch kind of like UFC 1 of grappling again. So it's like different styles with just enough of a diverse judging and rules criteria to like allow these guys to play different styles. You got to watch these different matchups kind of take, like the ADCC is set up right, like these guys have to get through trials or they have to be invited. Yeah. So like back in the day, a bunch of old school like UFC guys who were like legit wrestlers. Chris Weidman did it. I think Matt Hughes made that. Like just dudes who were like freak wrestlers who would go to trials and they would win trials because they're just way better at wrestling.
Yeah,
they'd win fucking trials, or they'd get invited because they're big names and like they'd go against a guy like Marcelo Garcia who is like jiu-jitsu freak. And in the main event, they'd run into these guys. And you'd have some of that back in the day, but now because because ADCC is pretty well established, so well established that those wrestler types will have a much harder time getting through trials now because the guys are running into at trials. Like trials now is as competitive, if not more competitive than the ADCC finals because of the amount of rounds these guys will have to go through in multiple days.
Everyone's like learning that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're kind of they're a little bit past that now, to where it's like you have these Rutolo style jiu-jitsu guys they've been wrestling. Like the training's changed a little bit in like high level jiu-jitsu, to where like the top athletes. I mean, again, like they're not gonna beat a Nolf in like a raw wrestling tournament. These aren't raw wrestling tournaments. These are tournaments where wrestling is encouraged and welcome, but it's not the only way to win. So they'll dog it out with these guys, but they'll find submissions, and so they have that same intensity through the full spectrum. That it just becomes a technical thing at the end of the day. So the Rutolos have that.
That's the hardest part.
It is. Well,
jiu-jitsu is so adaptive though. Like they take something like even I don't know when the leg locks even became big, but that's the one thing I'm starting to really like about jiu-jitsu is like every couple of years I feel like from learning about it, something's evolving, changing. Like it's constantly like
it's morphing all the time. Like you said.
It's so hard because like wrestling. So if you have a good double, high crotch, you're going to win a lot of matches. But you can't like, jiu-jitsu is like, you can't just pull the same thing.
And that's the rules and the way the game is played because, like, again, like, to give jiu-jitsu its day in court because, like, it's a little bit broader. Like, wrestling works. You have to do it. You have to know how to do it. Levi Jones Leary, whatever that guy's name is, he kind of like in CJI. Do you remember that? We watched that together. Yeah. He's that squirrely little guard player dude who like made it to the finals. Like I think he lost. He ended up losing, I think, to Cade who was the one who fought Nolf.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, now we're talking about profiles of people. Like, hey, spoiler alert, Cade had enough top. Cade can't out-wrestle Nolf, but he will wrestle Nolf. And he'll use that wrestling to at least create scrambles to beat Nolf with a submission, which I think is what he did. I forgot how it happened, right?
I think he got like a leg.
He did something he did something smart, like something that he needed to beat the wrestler.
Something crafty.
Exactly. But like, okay, so you move Nolf out of the way, and you go Cade versus Levi. Cade's wrestling is like, you might as well think of him as Jason Nolf against Levi with the level of wrestling he has. But Levi's like, watch this, I'm going to pull guard. I'm not going to wrestle you at all. So then they had and people I think Cade won that. I have to go back and rewatch it. He definitely won it. But I mean, when I watched it, I remember thinking, all right, he earned it. But it was very close.
It was a super tight matchup, and like I know that one specifically is one of the matchups where people were like, we want like. Let's clarify what like the rules are here, like what the criteria is, because it's 10-point must 3 rounds, and so people are like, well, what are you judging? How are you weighing everything? Right. Because like you have people that are probably guard pullers that are like, well, he won because he was doing better in guard, and then you have people who are like, well, he was working harder from top, and so like you have a little bit of a.
It's a gray area,
a little bit of gray. Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
You're right, and that was their first event, and so I'm sure they're going to refine some of that. But like, by the way, in my opinion, I like that. It's kind of tough to watch sometimes, like watching these guard pullers, because it's not that entertaining. But at the same time, if you're semi-educated on what's happening, it does introduce that. Like, all right, well, how's Cade going to figure this out? And if I remember correctly, or at least my analysis looking back on it was that I do think Cade worked a little bit harder from the top, and that's why I was like, all right, it's very close. I think he earned it. But like you said, my reason for bringing it up is because within that rule set, within that game, Levi's allowed to do that. And by the way, it got him to the finals, and everyone else was scratching their head. Well, I thought we were going to fucking dog it out on top. And he's like, no, I'm going to submit you motherfuckers from here. He's allowed to do that.
Well,
and it does introduce
very active, too.
He was.
So, like, that was, that's what makes it extra tough to
So, there's something about that I like, where I'm like, all right, figure it out. What you get, this is still a martial art. Like, you can't beat him. You didn't beat him. Like, figure it out. Like, I agree that it's more entertaining to watch. I'd rather watch Nolf and Cade fight. I'd rather watch, one of those fuckers, the kids from the Tackets. I'd rather watch those dudes. I'd rather watch that dog fight with 2 dudes who are willing to stand and do wild, fun shit from top. I mean, really anywhere those guys can do it. They're like the Rotolers, where they can fight anywhere.
Do you think
anyway? And that to me is more entertaining. But at the same time, there's still this question like, hey man, Levi's gonna pull guard. You better figure something out. Like, and if you're not going to, like, why shouldn't he win $1 million motherfucking dollars?
The effectiveness speaks for itself, right? So like you kind of have to acknowledge it and be ready to have an answer for it, because like, hey, if he's going to beat everyone, you probably going to see him in the finals. You need to have an answer for this.
The question still remains, doesn't it, man? Yeah. So like to me, it's like, while I do, the entertainment value it's there no matter what, in my opinion. Like I loved that whole tournament personally. And I
you saw it's coming back?
Hell yeah. I think they're doing it different. They're doing it team style this time, which will be cool.
Team style's cool.
It'll be sweet, dude.
I like the mats too.
Yeah, dude, the pit is sweet, and I let them play off that. I do still think it's worth, like, I've gone back and forth on it. I still think it's worth figuring out, maybe because I'm a jiu-jitsu guy in my core. I still think it's worth being like, all right, let the guy pull guard and figure it out, man. Do something spectacular. Something awesome. Do like a front flip, crazy bullshit, jump around his guard, grab his neck, and rip his head off. If you can't do that, then like, all right, you couldn't pass his guard.
But you
maybe we give you the guard player nerd.
Cool.
Yeah.
The only thing I think for the guard pullers, I think they should implement a little bit more stalling for them.
I agree with that.
Because the main thing that I don't like is someone that always tries to attack from the top is like, once you pull guard, I have to engage with you. Mm-hmm. But if you don't, you just defend.
That's true.
But there's nothing, you won't get called for stalling if you sit there and just defend. But I feel like if you pull guard, you have to be attacking my leg, like try and pull me in, do something.
I very much agree with this. I've lost tournaments because of this.
We're all in agreement on this.
Yeah.
We are.
I think it would make it a little bit more watchable for like
100%.
the people that never. It'd get more people involved in
like
the
a
sport.
shot clock.
Yeah,
give them a shot clock. I'm with you, man. They figure that out. And by the way, ADCC, to give them credit in the CJI ADCC battle thing, ADCC penalizes guard pulling.
Really?
Now there are ways to do it in the second half. That's right. You have to like what guys will do. So ADCC is set up where it's like the first half of any match is no points. It's sub only technically. So what a lot of guys, but like halfway through the match they call it. They go points. The referee will call it out. Then they'll introduce the points. So like what guys will do early on is they'll allow themselves to get taken down.
Oh.
Like if I'm going against you, I can't pull guard. But if I know you're going to go for a takedown, I'll put my leg there, and then I'll pull guard as you take me down.
Oh, I like that.
It's not. It's kind of. It's tactical, but. And I've won matches in ADCC where dudes have pulled guard on me incorrectly, and I'm like, hey, all right, cool, penalty to that guy. But they do introduce the penalty. If you pull guard incorrectly, they'll penalize you for it. And I do think that makes some sense. I mean, people find ways around it.
Well, and you can do like the shoot to turtle.
That's right.
To guard.
That's right.
Like that's considered.
There are ways.
That's actually beneficial for you. That's an
right.
initiation.
And like to an extent, like at a certain point, they have to have both the blend of like let's make this exciting and spectacular. Therefore, like limit guard pulling, but also still allow it enough because it is a martial art. Like it's a fight. Like guy's gonna pull guard. Guy's gonna go to guard. Someone's gonna end up on their back in some scenario, whether they get taken down or not. What are you gonna do now? So like that I like that about the rules in ADCC that they do make it more difficult. Still happens, so they still give you some room to kind of play off that. But it is if you don't engage and if someone doesn't engage with you and you just pull guard, like all right, immediately that person, the other guy, like if nothing else happens, the guy on top's gonna win because that person's then -1.
Yeah, well, that's my favorite thing watching in like some matches. Is when you have a wrestler versus like a true jiu-jitsu guy. So when he's going for that takedown, it's like, can he finish that and like pass, or during that transition, can he like create that space and hit like an omoplata or like triangle, something like in that transition? That's where I'm like, wow, that was pretty spectacular.
It's pretty cool.
Mitigating the takedown.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you're gonna take me down, but I'm putting my body in place where as soon as I hit the ground, I'm throwing something up and attacking you. And I'm like, oh, jeez, that's a tough one. Because when I first started jiu-jitsu, I'd go for any takedown. People were kind of giving it to me. I was like, oh, nice. Then immediately, the triangle was coming up. I'm like, oh.
Fuck was that?
Like, oh, jeez, this is not what I want.
I know, but
I took you down, though.
Yeah, it's like.
But I'm winning.
Yeah, I thought I was going to win.
I've seen matchups, though, in ADCC. Where, I mean, this is, like, true for any organization. The judging... The refereeing they got to figure out a little bit because I've seen matches, I've been in corners of matches. I cornered Sam Kilmer a few years back, and there was one where he competed against the 10th Planet guy, and the guy intelligently decided to go to his back against Sam because he doesn't want to get taken down by Sam. And then Sam assaulted this guy's guard for the entirety of the match. It went to overtime. And the referee, looking back on it, it was like the 10th Planet guys. I think they just leveraged their clout with the referee, which happens, dude. It happens all the time. I've seen it a lot. In all jiu-jitsu tournaments, this happens. The referee was just like, all right, I know who those guys are. I'm going to give the match to them. Where it was like, dude, Sam beat this guy's ass.
Oh, I don't like that.
It's annoying, but
it happens at every tournament.
It happens at every tournament. It's part of. It's not a good. I mean, it's fucking weird. You have rules, judge the rules, but like that's so normal now that you kind of have to like. I always tell people like whoever it is, I'm like you're gonna make it like assume the referees are gonna fuck you over, and make it definitive. Like you have to score, you gotta submit them. I mean, do your job. Like if it's left to the referees, assume it's not gonna get done well. And like like more often than not, they'll get it done right, but. Man, it's a coin toss. You don't know what.
I mean, to be fair, I would not want to be a referee in some of these.
No, those jobs. It's a miserable.
Even
job.
the matches I lost by decision, like Dubois, I was like, watching it back, I'm like, oh, I thought I should have won. But then other times, I'm like, I guess he probably would.
Refereeing is it's a thankless job. I've done it before, and I'm like, I don't ever want to do it again. And I have a respect for the referees who do it because it's like, especially the ones who do it a lot.
I was gonna say, there's some guys that are always out there.
Yeah,
every single one.
And some of them are really good, and some of them are complete trash.
Yeah.
But it's like a thankless job insofar as like when you're doing your job well, no one cares. It's sort of like one of those things where it's like this is the way it's supposed to be. No one gives a shit. And then as soon as
you make one mistake,
you make and mistakes happen. Like, you gotta give, like, they're just dudes. Like, it's kind of a hard job. You gotta watch this shit nonstop. Stuff happens fast.
He starts thinking about something random.
They get a little distracted. Some of these dudes are there. They're bored. It's a hard job. You have to, like, pay attention all day. Like, you make a mistake, an honest mistake. And, like, people fucking hate your ass, dude. And then, like, a mistake I can tolerate. Like, it's when they're, like, just truly negligent or they're fucking... they're checked out or they're pissed or they just want to make...
He's like, oh man, I made some bets. I wonder how my bets are doing. Oh shit, something happened.
Oh fuck!
Because it is pretty like
a guard pass.
Slow, and then all of a sudden it's like, counting's hard.
Look at these white belts. There's a couple white belts going. No, I'll be fine for a minute. Oh shit, nope. He's tapping.
Yeah, dude. At the end of the day, the main thing they got to do is make sure no one gets like totally fucked up.
Yeah,
that's the one thing you got to do, especially in local tournaments. Don't let these guys.
Well, the local tournaments are funny because it kind of reminds me of like JO wrestling, like little kids wrestling, because like the ref, same thing. It's like nothing. Like they're like 7-year-olds rolling around, but the parents are. I've seen fights from parents like rolling down the bleachers, like getting in physical altercations about refs. And it's like this is a small local tournament, and then someone will lose. I'm like, we're all like old enough where it's like take it on the chin, move on, and they're like ready. They're like, you suck, I fucking hate you. Blah, blah. I was like, oh my god, you guys need to chill out here, man.
It's like, hey, not that serious. Don't talk to the ref.
Yeah,
just take your licks, dude. There's gonna be it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's like
I know it sucks in the moment.
You're not gonna get your Instagram post. I get it. Like it's not that big of a deal, dude.
It's fine.
It's like
spazzing at a local jiu-jitsu tournament is hilarious.
It's like save your caption for another day, brother. It's all good.
You know, it's hey, dude. Just do your thing. Get out there, get your points or whatever. Like, don't worry about the ref. Like, the ref's gonna do what the ref's gonna do.
Yeah.
Like, control your shit. Get out there, score your points if you need to score your points. If the ref starts calling shit on you, just say yes and then fix it. Get your points.
I like that.
So, buddy, we got 2025 coming up here. 2024, you won a national championship in jiu-jitsu. Good job.
Thank you for that.
Congrats.
Couldn't done without
you. Fought, yeah, well, teamwork, like you said, man. How many times did you fight this year?
I only fought once.
That's right.
Which was depressing.
Well, you stayed busy. What are you thinking for 2025, man?
2025, I want to get some pro fights in. Either amateur title fight or just go straight pro fights. Either one will make me happy. I had a real hard time finding opponents.
They're dodging you, man. Legitimately.
I don't know if they're dodging or if it's just like I feel like some organizations aren't trying to really help me out here. So I need a little bit of support. But 205 is also like...
Don't shout them out.
I'm not going to. But you know who you are.
They know who they are.
But I feel like 205 is a little thin for a weight class. So I might have hop down 85. Eventually for...
Scurry.
I mean, eventually for... If I plan on going the long run for the pros, I'm going to have to probably cut down. I feel like that's probably my weight class. But... I want to get a couple pro fights in, start working there, and then wherever it takes me from there, just keep having fun. Eventually, I'd like to sit where you're at, and just be coaching.
Yeah.
Long term, open up a gym down the line.
We can help you out with that.
I like that.
We'll talk.
Yeah,
we'll talk.
Talk biz.
We'll talk biz. We'll talk numbers.
Yeah, but that's it's always fun, but it's just one of those things, man. It's just finding opportunities that work for me, and then kind of make the best of them. See what type of doors open. I'm not really putting too much weight in everything. It's always changing. So
staying active.
Yeah, just stay active. Keep training.
Stay healthy.
Yeah,
that's
big. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah,
it's hard to stay healthy in the game, but it's a terrible game. It's a mean game, but. It's
the best game.
Somebody's got to play.
Someone's got to do it, dude.
It's too much fun.
Someone's got to punch these dudes in the face.
But it just weeds the week out.
It does.
You just got to be at the top of it.
No, once you're in it, man, you're never out.
I would like to do Worlds next year.
Okay.
I'd like to do a little bit more grappling. I'd like to. I know you're talking about London. I'd like to go overseas.
Mm-hmm.
And do some PA wrestling to some Europeans.
I would love to see that.
Dude, the Brits. They're gonna experience.
We like the Brits, but they're gonna have to pay, dude.
1776 all over again, brother.
I agree.
You guys are gonna pay.
I agree with that, dude. That's right, dude.
You guys want to burn down my White House?
Are you gonna burn our White House, dude?
It's like too soon, brother. Too soon.
It's not too soon. No, it's not. It's some wounds never heal, dude.
Yeah, for real.
I'll never forget that. They taxed our team.
Get some Instagram posts just throwing tea into their harbor.
Yeah, those pussies.
Throw it in this one too.
I'll go with Ireland too. Ireland.
Yeah,
I think
that'd be sweet. That'd be sweet.
Fucking Dublin.
Yeah, man, they taxed our motherfucking tea, dude.
Dude. They found out.
Those little fuckers. They did find out. They did find out. People don't forget though. I have not forgotten.
The North remembers.
The North remembers, man. Yeah, London will be nice, dude. We could definitely set you up for Worlds. Maybe we do nationals again. Get you go out there defending your national title, dude. Being a national champion is awesome.
National champ's pretty cool.
American
national champ, baby.
American champ.
Bleed red, white, blue.
Red, white, blue, dude. Yeah, dude. I think that's a good move. Worlds is in December, so we got all year to prepare for that, and we definitely can and should do that. Yeah, going to Europe and knocking over some Europeans would be nice.
That, trust me, that
that
is the one key goal. The one thing I did want to bring up, you said you played rugby. When did you play rugby from?
I played rugby from 20. What year was that? 17 to 19 or 18 to 19, somewhere in there.
You play around here?
Yeah, there's a few teams in DC. So I played for one, the Renegades, and then, but there's a couple teams. There's like DC Selects is the big one. Actually, a few jiu-jitsu guys that play with them. Then there's another one that's over on this side.
Do you ever have to do a Zulu?
No.
You know a Zulu?
No, is that crazy chant those dudes do?
No, dude. The Zulu is...
That's a haka, right? Is that a haka?
You're thinking of the haka.
I'm thinking of the haka.
So the Zulu, I love rugby. Talk about being gay. But rugby was probably one of the most fun times of my life. And I played from like 2015, 2017. Played on the Marine Corps team. And we'd travel all across North Carolina. I tried out for the like all East team or whatever. Ended up not making it. But the Zulu, so when you get your first try, which is like a touchdown, you have to run around the field naked. Which is awesome.
I was lucky enough to not have to do that after my first try.
Playing from Benjamin's iPhone.
Ignore that.
Ignore that. Benjamin Franklin's trying to chime in.
Yeah,
the government's listening.
Yeah, the government is listening.
But
he's over here trying to look up Zulus.
Yeah, but the Zulu is my favorite because everybody. It's like it's almost like a frat.
Okay.
Like Marine Corps is like a frat. Rugby's like a frat. A lot cooler. I don't really like frats, but it's kind of similar to that. But my first try, I remember. Blocked the kick, picked up, scored. I was like, all right, sweet. And I was like kind of banged up. I was like, oh man, my body's killing me. Obviously, like I was playing rugby like a football player, which isn't very smart because I'm just throwing my body into other large men.
That's not what they do. That's what it looks like they do.
There's ways to do it to avoid injury.
Okay.
I was
more
young.
Like wrestling.
Yeah, I was young and I was playing flanker. And I'd just come off the edge and just
Blast
some dudes. But I'm scoring. You have a social after every game. Hosting team has like free beer, bring kegs. Everybody has fun. We're at this Irish pub, and it's like a round bar type thing. It's almost like a racetrack.
Okay.
So they start ringing a bell, and they're like, Zulu, Zulu. They're like, we got a Zulu. If you don't like male nudity, get the fuck out. I was like, oh, that sounds fun. I was like, what's happening?
What's about to happen?
You're about to.
And then they're like, they start chanting. They're like, Zulu, Zulu. They're like, you gotta run naked. I was like, bro, I did not prep for this. You have to give me at least
I gotta fluff
30
myself
minutes.
up here,
Let me go to the bathroom. Let me do something.
Guys, give me some.
I don't know if you ever worked out or
No, I'll do it,
It's like
I'll do
something.
The blood's not there right now.
It tightens up.
It's in my legs.
And there's a bar full of people, and they're like, you gotta get naked, run 2 laps around this bar. I was like,
all right, give me a minute.
I was like, are you fucking
I'll do
kidding
it.
me? And I just hopped right into it. I was like, fuck it. And then I just fucking stripped in my birthday suit, started running.
How fast was that lap?
Dude, so slow. they made it so challenging. They threw beer on me. they threw ice at me. It was like a Game of Thrones like type treatment. And
shame.
Yeah,
Shane.
And they were singing a song. They're like, he's a grower, not shower. But it turns out they sing that every time. So I was like,
it's not just you.
I was like,
this isn't just about.
I was like, thank God. I'm like, you guys are attacking me right now. So I get it done, and then after you have like man of the match and kind of the match, and I end up winning both.
Hey.
So, because I made a lot of penalties because I was new. I didn't.
So that's the cunt.
I didn't know how to play. Yeah.
Okay.
But the man of the match is like whoever does like really good, and I scored like once or twice or something like that. And made a few hard hits because I was being my meathead self. And then you just chug beers, and like I ended up chugging like 4 beers, like dark things, and I'm like, dude, this is getting aggressive. This is like my first experience in
beers,
the rugby.
Shooties.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, shooting the boot.
Yeah.
They just grab a I don't know how you guys do, but we had a shoe that we just travel around. It's called shoot the boot. You see that one UFC fighter does it, but you fill it up, but someone else will fill it up. People will try to spit in it, like do it. You just gotta grab it fast. And
they try to pass it around.
throw it down the hatch and kind of go from there. But it is a demonic type scene.
It sounds like it's your scene, dude.
It is my
It's
scene.
your scene, the man in the cunt of the match.
It's just
and the Zulu.
Yeah, because
you wore all the hats that day.
Well, plus you have to drink the flask, and the man of the match in the previous will fill it up, and they'll either be a nice guy or be terrible. And they'll fill it up with something nasty or like mix it up.
Some Jaeger.
Yeah, it's just like something gross.
Did you all have like a jacket or something?
Yeah, we had a jacket.
We would get the jacket too.
Our jacket had like a dildo. It's just like
wow.
it was aggressive.
You were supposed to like leave a condom in the pocket for the next guy.
Never be
supposed
used.
to like you're supposed to like have sex in the jacket.
Never be used. That guy.
No one ever used that. No, it was always the same one. I'm sure.
Yeah, it was always fun. We'd just go out a team after to hit the bars. I remember the one time we were at this. Where were we? We were down in Charlotte, and we're playing. You know those bracelets, like the ring? It was like 80s night or something like that. They had like the glow bracelets. And I remember I used to be such a menace there. I'd just be grabbing them. I was like obviously drunk. I was just like throwing them on random people's beer. Like, ha! Like just playing like bottle toss. Like, and they're like, fuck you, dude. I'm like, just being an idiot.
Gotcha.
Yeah, going from there. It was always fun.
I'm the man of the match. I can do whatever I want.
It did give me that complex where I was like,
I can do whatever I want.
I'm better than all of you right now.
Yeah, it's like, I am king. Tonight is my night.
Do you know who the fuck I am?
It is my wedding night. You guys can fuck off. I'm like, I wish the crowd knew it. Probably gave me free drinks.
They're learning.
Yeah, trust me, I made them learn. I was like,
rugby increased my like small man honey badger complex because I played scrum half, so
dude,
I was like
a great position.
I was basically the little guy that had to get in the mix with all the big dudes, and so like you just have to go and just try to be the meanest fucker because you have to go and hit big dudes and get hit by big dudes. So
you get hit a lot. You
yeah,
get hit a lot. It's just I love the socials. You get to sing after. It's like very like again the community. It's
Bro
like
shit.
Everywhere I'm trying to find is just find a good community, get after it, and go from there. It's always fun.
We need to go to a rugby game here.
there's a team in Loudoun.
Yeah.
So like
I think it's kind of big in DC.
Yeah, so
It is.
there's a DC team. They used to play at Catholic U. We would play openers for them, but so like now they play at the Loudoun United Stadium out there in Sterling or Ashford.
What the hell is Loudoun United, dude?
It's a soccer team.
Okay, all right. It sounds like a soccer team. Like I don't know what that is.
They feed some other team. I don't know. It's like
Whatever.
minor league soccer. I think.
I hear
It's probably
United.
DC United's feeder.
Sure. It sounds
That's my
like it.
guess.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the All Blacks just completely destroy the DC team. I was like, oof.
Old Glory. That's what it's called.
Who's the All Blacks?
They're New Zealand.
Yeah.
Oh, so like the big,
They're like
big dogs.
they did the
They're like
Hawkeye.
really good.
They're the best. They're aggressive.
Big dogs came through
Yeah.
and just blasted our
I was like,
DC weaklings.
I was like, tough.
Shame.
Yeah, that's pretty
Shame.
good.
Shame.
It's a bit of a mismatch.
Yeah, just a small one, but the boys put on a good fight.
Did they?
They represented. Yeah.
I like
No,
that.
I mean
They had some
they're
big
good.
dudes with mullets and everything.
Some
I was
hick
like-
shit?
Yeah, I was like,
That's kind of good.
I'm
Make
like,
us
we're
proud.
cooking. We got something.
They've got some guys from the international scene too. They brought in. So they played
We got some
so-
ball players.
We got some ball
We
players?
got guys.
We got guys?
We got guys.
All right, good, dude. I was thinking we weren't beating any allegations of being a weak bitch city.
No. We're tough.
All right, I like that.
Hard nosed.
I like that. Hard nosed.
Just New Zealand's just really good.
No,
The All
yeah.
Blacks are just really. They're like
Yeah.
maybe the best.
I think they are the best in the world, which would be a pretty cool title. It'd be like, I am
best
the
in-
best in the world.
They can have it.
They can.
They can
I mean,
have it.
who?
What else is new?
I like
the only thing I know
rugby,
about
but-
New Zealand is like Lord of the Rings.
Listen,
And some good comedy shows.
I like rugby, but if you can't win the Super Bowl, get the fuck.
the
out.
fuck out of here. Yeah, it's true.
True. There
They
is
won.
no Super Bowl in rugby.
Yeah,
What do they have?
I don't know. Olympics,
The
World
rug-
Cup.
Yeah,
World Cup?
Something nobody watches.
It doesn't have the word super in it. That's all.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's,
If you're not playing football, then
it's not a real sport if we're not the best at it.
that's kind of my.
That's
philosophy.
that's my philosophy too. Soccer, for example.
Soccer.
I was talking about that with someone the other day, where it's like we don't care about a sport until we're good at it. Like, like there's all these sports that like we don't give a fuck until we're like in the Olympics playing it, or like our team's in the World Cup, because it doesn't really exist until we're at the top tier.
I agree with that.
Women's soccer is very good.
We're good at that.
We let Japan know World War II was not a
It
mistake.
ain't over. It ain't over.
we let it.
We ain't over, dude.
We let it happen.
Yeah.
Amy Warbach with the header is like, we're killing the game.
Fuck them.
I mean, the soccer is pretty lucky that we don't have, or that we have football, because if we just played soccer, we'd win. It's pretty dominant.
Boys.
The rest of the world is lucky.
Good stuff, Shanner. Thank you, man.
Appreciate you
Good
guys.
stuff.
It was fun.
Michael. Fighter drinking coffee.
That's us.
Bye. Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.